What's going on, guys? Mr. Pig here, coming at you with a build video that a lot of you guys, if you're coming from my Twitch channel, have already seen me run. So there's not going to be like a little show-off video at the end, right? Basically, this is just to answer a lot of questions you guys have had, what I'm running, how I'm running it, and this, that, and the other, right? So let's get into it. First off, we are a Wood Elf Bosmer Master Race, you know. What Elf I would say is one of the top 3 choices. You have Imperial, which is also a really good choice, and Orc would be an okay with this. Alright, so if you look here, these are the stats. Unbuffed. We do have 21 points in health. Excuse me, and we have 43 points in stamina, right? Using the Warrior Stone, and also we're using Lava Foot and Salt Trees, right? So with Lava Foot, you get a line of max stam for 49.36, and you get stamina recovery for 493, which is the equivalent, the recovery that is the equivalent of running Dubious and Bone Pirate, which I do not ever recommend. So without getting that line of max health, that's why we have 21 in health and we have 43 in stamina. We're running 13k mag. My health in Cyrodiil is gonna be around 23k, which I'm perfectly fine with. I move around a lot, and I kind of use I use LOS and I use dodge rolling. It's kind of like a little bit of damage mitigation, because obviously if they can't see you or they can't hit you, you're not taking damage, right? Max stam 32k. Stam recovery unbuffed is 2313. Weapon damage is on front bar is 3542, all unbuffed. Alright, crit 44%, spell and physical resistance close to 15k. With shadow barrier, I think we're sitting around 20k, and 4k crit resist. A lot of you guys can probably already tell what one of my sets is gonna be. Alright, so let's get into the build itself, which this was my third retake. The one I actually uploaded originally didn't have the build. They make a build video and you don't show the build. Good job, Pig. Alright, so we're running 5 medium, 2 heavy. The heavy is going to be my blood spawn, head and shoulder, impen and impen with a tri-stat on the helmet. And we're running impreg and we're running new moons, right? So impreg, I have it all in the body. I have I have the chest right here with tri-stat. Impreg gives you a lot of crit resist, so you can kind of get away with not running all impen. So I went with infused on the chest, and I went with infused on the legs, right? Trying to squeeze out as much resources as we can get. I have impreg as jewelry. I went all robust, weapon damage, stamina recovery. You can probably get away with running. I wouldn't recommend running more than 2 infused. But again, you guys take this, run it how you want. Doesn't matter, everyone's different. This is just the way I do it. Impreg Maul, right? Nernhone. Or not Impreg Maul, I'm sorry. New Moon's Acolyte Maul. Nernhone. Normally has a shocking chain on it for a chance to proc that minor vulnerability. Personally, I don't think New Moon's is the best option. There's a couple other sets that I've been looking at that I just haven't gone out to get yet. Not so much because I just don't have time, just because I'm lazy and I hate grinding and I don't want to go grind for more gear at this moment. But when I get that new set, I already have it in mind. I know what I want to go get. If I like it, I'll definitely re-upload this and let you guys know what's going on. We're running a Master's Bow on the back bar, infused weapon damage. You can probably run, or you can run, I've done it before, you can run a bow potentates, right? Now, if you put the defending bow on here, your base resistance on your back bar is going to go up to 17k, right? Then with shadow barrier, you're now at the 22k, and then do the math on blood spawn procs, right? But I want to push out more damage, so I'm hanging on to the Master's Bow. I wish the traits on this and the Potentate's Bow were kind of switched, so go with either defending Master's Bow or go with an infused Bow Potentate. I think the damage mitigation between those two is going to be roughly about the same. Front bar, I am using poisons, obviously, because I'm a scrub. I'm using Brutality Draining Poisons, right? Inflict minor maim on your target, which decreases their damage done to you by 15% and increases your damage to them by 10% because of minor brutality. That's really good for 1v1 situations. Gets a little bit harder when you're fighting outnumbered. If you can tag the target and you can figure out who you want to try and get down first, that'd probably be the best way to do it. But when you're fighting outnumbered, I think it's kind of the the first step to any good plan is to throw the plan out, you know. So I think we covered everything on build this time, right? So like I said, 2 blood spawn, both in pen, 5 medium on the body with 1 infused and 1 infused. Again, I would do that on your in perk pieces, or do that on the big pieces, right? Because that's where you can get the most bang for your buck when it comes to your enchants. And then in pen small piece, in pen small piece, in pen small piece, right? So if we go over to skills now, right? I'm running any basic Stamblade bars that people have been running for the past 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I know the game has not been out that long, but I'm just saying it's basically the same as everyone else. Um, First off, we are using Venom Arrow, which I really like. Poison Injection was cool for a while until kind of like the dot's the nerf and like dot damage just isn't cool anymore. So, or the execute from it just isn't cool anymore. So, the nice thing with Venom Arrow is you can interrupt people from range. So the way I used to fight was I tried to keep everyone in the same area, and I tried to keep all the bodies in the same area. But what I started to figure out is if you start getting all bodies in the same area, it kind of draws everyone to one area, and that's where the AoEs are going down. That's where just you're gonna take the most damage, and if you're trying to like keep distance from people, it gets really hard to interrupt. So what I do now, and what because a Venom Arrow lets me do it, is I try to kind of not so much like I try to keep the bodies more scattered. Like obviously I'm not gonna have one body a mile away, but I'm gonna keep them kind of scattered in reason because when you got people fighting you and you have bodies scattered, if someone starts to pull away from you and you notice that, you can kind of already guess that they're gonna go for a res, and which is nice is you can kind of position yourself so you can put yourself like at a 90-degree like perpendicular with who's attacking you and who's trying to get the res. It's really easy just to kind of look around instead of saying like the body is on the other side of that target dummy and just trying to move around, right? So kind of my thought process to it. Take it how you want, do what you want. And then obviously shadow disguise. Doesn't work 75% of the time, but I can still get it to work at times. Normally I'll hit it, even though I know it's not gonna work to get shadow barrier, because you're gonna get it one of two ways. You're gonna either get it from shadowy disguise or you're gonna get it from surprise attack, because of obviously your passives, and surprise attack is in the shadow tree, which doesn't make sense to me, but okay. But right here, shadow barrier, casting a shadow ability grants you major resolve for 6 seconds. Also your shade, which is another ability that I am using on my bar. That'll get it going. Um, but the thing with shadowy disguise not working is you want to LOS when you can. Um, so shadow and disguise and like shade, they work really well together. Create distance, LOS, everything like that. You can break ankles. I am using resolving vigor. Probably really smart to have that, but whatever. Um, Obviously, like I said, shadow image. Try to LOS around like a tree or something. Try and get a sneaky little placement down before they know you have it. And then if you want to try and pull away from a fight, you LOS around the tree, and then you come back around as that group is coming towards you. Run towards them, right? Roll through them, and then when they all turn the camera, hit shade, go back, cloak out, right? They won't know what happened. They'll just look dumb trying to find you. Leeching strikes, great for sustain. Use this forever. I'm probably never, ever, ever, ever going to take it off my bar. Back bar for ulti, I'm using temporal guard. More specifically, not for the ultimate itself, but I'm using it for the minor protection, right? Reducing your damage taken by 8%. You can use the ulti when it works. It's great. but a lot of times it's not gonna work, and I've noticed it doesn't work when you got a lot of people on you and they're snaring you a lot. It's just it won't work. When it does work though, there was a bug that I found with it, I think like yesterday or 2 days ago. It kept me in place for like ever, and I couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't roll. I could hold block and I can get abilities off, but the only way that it stopped that bug from happening was I had to get stunned again. Luckily the group I was fighting had no damage, and I was able to survive that. Go on the front bar, obviously pretty standard setup. Surprise attack, right? It's okay without the without the major fracture, because it tells you with like a flank you reduce the resistances. So like right here, a little bit more right there. So like right here, about like 45 degrees, um, quote unquote, is where you can is like considered a flank now. So as much as I move around, I'm always getting flank shots. I'm getting them side shots, which is nice. Um, Go here. I have Executioner, probably one of the strongest single target abilities in the game when it works, because there's been like a bug going on where you're basically standing on top of somebody and it's saying you're out of range, but we get through it. We get the kill still. I've been thinking about trying out Killer's Blade, which I think probably tomorrow when I live stream again, I'll definitely throw that on there, and if it works, I'll update some things. Especially after I get that new set and everything, I'll update and make a new video for you guys. So yeah, Killer's Blade is definitely a good substitute, because obviously you get that disease damage, so chance of minor defile. Also, if the enemy dies within 2 seconds of being struck, you get healed for 4k, which is almost it's just a little less, or a little more, a little less. Math is hard. Anyway, it's around a quarter, like 1/5 of your health, which is a really nice heal. Really nice to have without having to spam rally or having to spam vigor. So just kind of an easy heal for killing, squishy targets. And then we're using Relentless. This is kind of your bread and butter. This really determines your survivability, and it determines your killing power, because obviously I'm sitting here unbuffed and I have an 18k tooltip on it. Also does disease damage again, and it'll heal you for 33% of the damage dealt if you're within 7 meters of the enemy. Relentless Focus is a really cool ability. It just the way ZOS is trying to make it, well, they have made it, just doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. I don't get paid to make these skills work the way they do. Kind of our flex spot, not really. My what is that? My left ring finger doesn't work. It's been crushed too many times. Camo Hunter. Terrible ability. I don't ever recommend actually using it for the stealth detection, because you can literally be standing on top of somebody and they go invisible, you hit it, and nothing works. So basically I just use it for the major savagery and the minor berserk. Same thing, like same way that surprise attack works with that quote unquote flank shot. Then I'll get that to proc, and then that'll get that to proc, which is really nice. And then obviously two hand, I'm using rally. And then if you guys guess what I'm using for my ulti, it's gonna be NCAP, right? Now if this was 2 weeks ago and you asked me, it would have been more than likely it would have been Soul Harvest because of the major defile. I have used Berserker Strike on this. I don't like Berserker Strike. I just think it's too clunky. Dawnbreaker is another really good option before NCAP got the stun back, but NCAP has a stun, and I am 100% on board with NCAP. NCAP also has Reeve, which I actually do think is really cool. Just a little bit of, it's not significant, but it's just a little bit, and every little bit helps when you're outnumbered and you're kind of panicking. So yeah, I think that's all the skills. A couple substitutions you could do. I think I've already said it already. Or I think I've already said it. You can swap out Shadow Image for Shuffle if you like Shuffle. If you're terrible with using Shadow Image, like I am sometimes, Shuffle is definitely the way to go, because Shadow Image is definitely one of those abilities that it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Because there's been so many times where I'll shade back. I'll start off doing good with it, but I'll forget to reapply it, and then I start getting CC'd, and when I wish I had it, it doesn't work. And also they fixed it so you can go up and down levels on like towers, and you can shade back to the wall. Really nice. And I think you can change Camel Hunter out for a fear if you like it. I just don't think having a fear on your bar is really needed anymore, because you kind of get the stun from surprise attack out of stealth. If you have your champion points, I don't want to say set up right because everyone's different and has their own preference, but you'll get the stun from off balance and everything, which I'll go over here in a second. So kind of for like the passes and everything, you're gonna want everything unlocked in assassination, shadow, and siphoning. Obviously, two hand you want all the passes in there. Bow, you can get away without having probably long shot. I mean, accuracy is cool. Ranger, I think is pretty important. Hawkeye, that's nice if you just want to spam the ability, I guess. But again, like really the only passive that's probably the most important for bow, to me at least, is hasty retreat. Medium, obviously you want all your passives. For this build, the way I have it ran, if you're only going to run 2 heavy, you only want these first 3 unlocked for heavy armor. Fighter's Guild, you really only need Slayer. That's if you even have the ability on your bar. Psijic, you're going to want Concentrated Barrier if you're using Temporal Guard on the back bar. Undaunted, like you can have Undaunted Metal. I didn't put any points in that until just recently. I did just fine. And then for here, you're going to want your Continuous. Take resources whenever you can to get a pretty nice boost in damage and recovery. And then you want Combat Frenzy, right? So when you start the fight outnumbered, don't be afraid to send your incap off, but just make sure you pick the right targets. You know what I mean? Nightblades has such an easy time on getting ulti back anyways that I actually totally forgot about this passive, and I literally just put these points in yesterday. So don't be me. Support. I mean, you're gonna want this one right here. You're definitely gonna want Combat Medic. So kind of ignore the fact I just put my points in there. And then Battle Resurrection is nice if you have, if you're playing in a group, right? What else skills? Obviously, you always want your passives, no matter what it is. So let's go into champion points now. So for champion points, basically any Stamblade you look at, they're all gonna run their points probably in a similar way. The one thing I probably changed that's different than most since I'm running Impreg is in the Steed. I only have 27 in Resistant because I could be wrong about this, and I keep telling people this, and I could be giving them wrong information. So if you know, let me know down in the comments. Crit resist I think is capped out at 4K in Cyrodiil. So I'm sitting right at 4K. So I took the extra points out of here. I think I had like 65. I have it written down somewhere. I had 64. So I had like a crazy amount of crit resist. So I took them out. I take them out when I run Impreg, and I'll put them in like medium armor focus, and I'll put them in spell shield. So I have 19, 18. I have 56 in Ironclad, which is pretty important to have. 43 in Hardy and Ellie, and then 23 in Thick Skin. You can probably lower that down just a little bit since they had like the nerfs to dot damage and stuff, but I keep them in there anyways. The less damage I'm taking, the better, no matter if it was nerfed or not. Expert Defender, I have 9 in, which gives me 6%. And then Quick Recovery, I have 27. So I could probably honestly take those points out of Thick Skin and put a little bit more into Quick Recovery. Siphoner, I have 1. That was just an extra point that was left over. I have 47 in Warlord because CCs suck. I have 10 in Sprinter. I have 21 in Bashing Focus. I should probably put more in there because I keybind my interrupt on my right click where block normally is. It's since like the whole changes to block canceling, it just kind of became more important. So I can get my bash cancels off almost the same. A little delay in timing, but it's what it is. What it is. I have 64 in Mooncalf. You can probably drop that down to 10%. 3% is not too much of a difference. I have 27 in Tenacity. I have 21 in the Befoul. So like the only reason I have points in Befoul right now is because I was trying out a dot build again, and I was using Soul Harvest and everything like that. So I wanted to get some more Befoul, and I just never changed it. I have Tumbling in 66 because I think Roll Dodge is probably gonna be your best bet for damage mitigation on a medium armor Stamblade. And then also again when you're breaking free from like talons or something, because you know you got to break the stun and then you got to break the or not talons, fossilize I think. There's one of the DK ability CCs. You have to break a stun and then you have to roll out of it. And then Shadow Ward, I have 13 in. I don't really block a lot, but I do sometimes. Blessed, I have 27 in. And then here is probably like your most important tree for a Stamblade. I have 16 in Physical Weapon Experts. I have 81 in Master at Arms, and I have 23 in Shattering Blows. But you want to at least have 120 in there, so you can unlock Tactician, right? So when you use roll dodge to dodge an attack, you set the enemy off balance, and you guys know if you hit them with like a medium attack or a heavy attack, it stuns the target, which is also why I don't use a fear, because half the time the enemies I fight are gonna be off balance anyways. So you want to be careful too when you're about to do your big burst, which is the heavy attack. Well, not even a heavy attack. You want to do a light attack first, but the end cap into the spec bow. Because I actually just learned this because someone pointed it out that if you do, like, say the enemy is off balance and you do a heavy attack into an end cap, you wasted the stun on end cap, but that stun from the heavy is actually going to give them more time to react, and there's going to be a greater chance of your spec bow missing. So, like I said, spec bow is kind of like your bread and butter. That's your heavy hitter. And then over here, I don't have any Indomitors because dot damage is kind of a meme at this point for Stamblade. Precise strikes, I have 44. Piercing, I have 23. Which I'll run 23 with no matter if I'm running Spriggans or if I'm running New Moons, if I'm running Hunting, if like anything I'm running, I've always got 23 in here. It just doesn't, it feels good to me. And then I have 56 into Mighty. So, like I said, you guys can take this build how you want. Like, a couple things you could change probably. Definitely the monster set. You can run that however you want. I'll run one piece Veli, one piece Chudan. I'll run one Chudan, one Blood. I'll run Grenwolf is another really good option. Engine Guardian's a good option. I don't recommend. I think it's Chudan, the two piece of Chudan. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so don't run two pieces of Chudan because you're gonna waste your Shadow Barrier. Because that number right there is basically the same thing. The resistances Chudan gives you is the same thing, or is the same amount of resistances that you're getting for literally spamming your main attack and hitting your main defense. So it's kind of a waste. I'm trying to think if there's another monster set that might be viable. Let's see. Nothing really else comes to my mind, but I'm sure you guys can come up with something. And like I said, this isn't my build. So many people have ran this build already. It's just the way that I run it, and I know a lot of people have asked me. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna try and get out YouTube videos constantly now, like at least once a week, whether it be a build video, an actual like play video. Like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna do a guide, just because there's so much better Stamblades than me that already make guides, and I'm not really good with explaining why I do things. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys don't follow me on Twitch, it's www.twitch.tv/lowercase tm Mr. Pig, just like my name is right here. You know that's a capital T, but that's a lowercase on Twitch. It's also gonna be in the description below. So appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.